Listen, babe, I don't know whether we can see me or not because it just feels like if I move, my face is out of the frame. So we're gonna work with this. Don't mind my hair. That's what we're gonna be doing today. So, yap session. Let's have fun. So, lots has happened since the last time I filmed a long form video and the last time I kind of actually updated you guys on what is happening with me in my life, how it's going, what I'm doing. So that's what we're gonna do today. So let's start with how I'm doing. I'm doing real great. Much better than I had been doing, which is pretty wonderful. So sorry, we'll be stepping out of the frame. All of my products are behind the camera. So I'm doing a lot better than I was doing. I've been working really hard on some projects. The last few weeks have been dedicated to putting up my website and figuring out the offers that I wanted to put out there. Basically, so that's it. So last summer I bought a course on digital marketing, and then I spent so much time on different projects and trying different things. I think I said that in like my first video where I was like, I don't even know how people make money on the internet. And it just felt frustrating because nothing actually felt authentic, or at least authentic in my book. And so then I started creating content and I started playing around with what kind of stuff I'd love to be contributing to people, not only on the internet, but to, actual human beings. And something that really gets me was working a 9 to 5 that made me feel super undercompensated, that made me feel really anxious, that led to burnout and depression. And, in the economic climate that we have today, I spend a lot of time thinking how people my age or generations below me are going to be able to afford life. Like, I'm at a point in my life where I'd love to have kids. But first of all, I am in a relationship with the most wonderful woman in the world, but you'll understand that, the concept of having children is a little bit more complicated. And after that, I would love to be able to buy a home. But again, the concept of having to buy a home that has doubled in the past 5 to 6 years, again, a concept to me that blows my mind because no salaries have doubled in the past 5 years. So all of this was weighing so heavy on my mind, and I really started to be informed. I started watching lots of podcasts with either Jay Shetty or I love Diary of a CEO. I love Danielle Presley, just all of these people who talk about real topics, but also talk about what's happening now and what's coming. And what I found to be most relevant, if you will, is this AI takeover. Because according to, I think it's the World Economic Forum, from now until 2030, over 92 million jobs will either be displaced or replaced, if I'm not mistaken, which is absolutely absurd. It's absurd that many jobs will be displaced. At the same time, I'm not sure I see it as a negative thing because most of these jobs are going to be repetitive jobs like data entry or customer service. And I think that having people actually have jobs that fulfill them is important. So the fact that we're able to automate much simpler tasks, I think will be a budget saver, a time saver. So I see, I've got nothing against it. I'm kind of at a point though where it's like, well, if AI is able to automate these tasks, what tasks will remain? And the answer that I find is anything with human connection or human experience, right? Because the one thing that AI cannot do, even if it can create videos, images, write text, it cannot replicate human experience because it hasn't had a human experience. So I think that we will be coming back into, I guess, like a renaissance, if you will, in the fact that people are going to value things that are handmade or very human-based experiences outside of their job or in their everyday life. And what that looks like, or what I would like that to look like in my life, is being able to purchase things from local craftsmen and artists, and buying brands that feel aligned to my values. It just feels like I want my human experience to be as human as possible, and to let the machines do anything that they can do that can't be replaced. That's it. I just think humans should be going back to doing things that robots can't do. And I believe our lives will be much, much better. And people are evidently fearing this because they think that if machines take everything over, then what's the purpose of it all? But I think the purpose of it all is to bring us back to a human experience, and to bring us back to, making things with our hands and being creative and creating spaces of other people who want to have these experiences. So that's what I've been, I guess, working with or thinking about. And so it led me to want to build a community that helps people, first of all, diversify their incomes. I'd like to normalize having multiple income streams, because we can evidently see that one income stream isn't enough. And I learned, I think it's from the IRS. The IRS said that the average millionaire has 7 income sources. So that made me think, of course we can't compare to those people when we only have one income source that can't even help us get by on the bare minimum. So I want to help people create a space where that's possible. And I want to help people change their perspective, because in my studies, I learned a lot. Well, actually, in my own personal studies, I learned a lot about quantum physics and energy and everything to do really with the universe and the universal laws. They're topics that really interest me and that I think are not seen necessarily as factual, although lots of it is based on science. People think it's kind of like woo-woo, but I really believe that when we're using our energy and we're sending it to the right places and we're using it for the right things, that energy just multiplies back to us. And science has proven that our brain is responsible for our thoughts, and our thoughts shape our reality. So if we can change our perspective and shape our thoughts, therefore we can shape our reality. And basically that's the theory that I'm testing. So right now I am creating content, sort of promoting my services. I have services for individual people and for brands. And on May 1st, I'm launching my Community on School for people who, want to learn more, but don't necessarily think they need like a one-on-one system or step. So if I can, hang on just a second. So my offers for individuals are either, oh no. So sorry, this is a little chaotic, but again, that's just my brain, that's just my life. And that's what I'm gonna keep doing. So what I was saying is my individual offers, the first one that I offer it's a session called Explore. So basically what we do in that session is we explore your past, where you are now, and we really get to know you, right? And I think that sometimes people think they know themselves until they sit down with a professional who knows the right questions to ask in that setting, to get to know not just like what your school is or where you grew up. I want to know so much more than that. And to be able to build something, you need a starting point. And the starting point is yourself. It's always been yourself. All of your values, the way that you speak to people, the energy that you bring, it all starts from you. So it's super important to identify all of these things. So that's what the first thing that I offer is. It's really like this get to know you session And then you can either just do that, or this first session is actually part of a system. So it's a 4-session system called the Equation, because it's funny. First of all, my name is Emily, and all of the sessions, their titles start with E. So c'était volontaire. I wanted to do that. So we just said the first session. Second session is expand. So think of expand as broadening your horizons, changing your perspective, understanding your limiting beliefs that you may not even be aware of. And once we're able to identify those things, it's so much easier to move on to express. So express then is your voice, how you show up in spaces, in community, how you communicate your values, what you're working towards, because this is how you connect with people. And the last session is earn. So in earn, what we do is I, before the session, will identify income streams or things that I think that you can do based on your interests, your skills, that will be able to build you multiple income streams. So that last meeting is really like a roadmap forward for you, like a step-by-step. Well, here is who you are. Here's, if you want, your personal brand. So that for me includes like visual aesthetic, your brand values, like how can we take you and package it to offer things to people in a way that only a human experience can offer. So that's basically what I do for individuals. I do about the same thing for brands, except for brands, it's a little bit more concentrated, because usually brands have, their voice, their values, their aesthetic all figured out. And sometimes they need help, I think, connecting with their audience a little bit more, because a lot of brands have great messages but aren't connecting with their audience in the right way, or aren't seeing any returns. And that's what I'm there to do. I'm there to diagnose the problem and then write a report helping them move forward. Or what I do, it's really, the brand can select what they'd like to work on with me. And if not, for me, it really comes down to the culture, the work culture, how they treat their people, work ethic, or if they're having, communication problems with teammates or other. That's what I offer, because my background, what I studied in university is really, I studied human dynamics. So it's something that's very, very easy for me to do. And in my 9 to 5, I spent a lot of time of writing reports. So it's something that I'm very good at. And I also offer follow-up calls for I guess brands or companies that I've worked with, because we always need a little bit of outside perspective. So those are the two really like one-on-one things that I offer. And then the third thing I offer is the community that I'm building, because I think that I know that when I started my journey, I was very much like, show me the facts first. I'm someone who really likes to make sure that my information comes from reputable sources. As you'll maybe see through the content that I post, it's so important to me to listen to the experts and what they're saying, because really, I think people often say, oh, but experts, their opinions are always changing. Right, because life is always moving forward and we're always gaining more information on these specific topics, and we're learning that things that we were doing were wrong, and it's okay to move forward. And I have absolutely no problem saying, well, I'm still learning and I might do things wrong, or I might mess up, and that's okay, because it's part of a human experience to try something new and to fail. Like, what a human experience to fail at something and then to try again until you get it right. Because for the longest time, for me, losing was so difficult. I was a really sore loser until my niece, at one point, we were playing a board game. She's 8 years old, and she says to me, she lost. We were playing a game and she lost, and she's like, well, it's okay, I'll try again next time. Like, I have the chance to win next time. And that kind of changed my brain chemistry to say, well, even if what I'm doing right now doesn't work out, doesn't mean it won't work out next time. Doesn't mean that because what I posted today didn't reach a bunch of people, doesn't mean it won't tomorrow, and doesn't mean it won't the day after that, and doesn't mean it won't the day after that. So having this consistency and this belief that anything is possible if you just show up and keep trying is what's leading me right now. So maybe I'm showing up in a chaotic way and doing a bunch of things, but there's nothing more authentically me than that. I show up chaotically and I have a million ideas and I want to do them all, and then I'll start something and I won't go through with it because it doesn't feel right, and that's just how I work. That's how my brain works, and I'm not going to change the way that I work to fit somebody else's ideal. So that's what I've been doing, actually. And yeah, I just wanted to get you guys, I guess, a little bit more informed on what's going on in my life. We're super happy in the apartment. It's like I've never felt so good in one place, and I think that that's part of my journey on, coming back to myself and figuring myself out in my values and what I look for. And that's why I can 100% testify to the system that I'm offering, because I've personally used. Okay, so sorry for that like abrupt cut off. My camera stopped recording for what stupid reason, I don't know. So what I was saying is that I'm super happy in my new apartment. I've never felt more like myself and more at peace than I do right now. And it's such a unique experience to be having. And I just want to say that the process that I'm offering is the process that I use to get to this point in my life and to really get aligned with what is important to me, my values, what I want to offer and put out there. And I was able to build this based off my 3 core values, which are perspective, connection, and impact. Perspective, because I believe it's important to always question where your information comes from, to always get a second source, and to make sure that your sources are peer-reviewed, are factual, are coming from places. Why is it doing this though? Can we? Usually it's so cute. Why are you frustrating me? Okay, sorry. First world problems. Let's move on to the other one, and then we'll go back to that one if I have to. So that for me is what perspective is all about, and it's also about challenging your inner beliefs, where you come from, your thoughts, how you see the world, how your beliefs shape who you are, and understanding that science can help us do a lot. The second one, connection, to me comes back to the one thing that AI can't do is human connection and human experience. And so if we're able to always work and move through the idea of connection, those kind of spaces feel right for me, and those kind of, I want to say connections, but that feels redundant. Just they feel much more aligned. And the last one is impact. And impact to me is a lot about longevity. I think a lot about, what I'm going to be able to leave behind and how I can help other people move forward and see the world in a better light. Because I think we have a tendency of believing people are bad or thinking the world is bad. So again, coming back to being able to change that perspective and connect with people in a way that is impactful, it just sums up exactly who I am and what I am working towards and how I believe the world should move forward. Right? Yes. And so, in thinking with all of this, when I was not doing so hot, the one question that really, I want to say haunted me, but that's a little dramatic. The one question that really helped me change the way that I see things was asking myself, okay, if my life right now doesn't feel aligned, what does an aligned life look like and feel like? What does my dream life look like and feel like? And when I started asking myself that question and I was able to identify exactly what my dream life looks like and feels like, it was so easy to then build off of that. So to give you an example, my dream life is living on a farm with my beautiful wife and our kids. Why is it doing this? Do you guys know why it's doing this? Do you have any tips? Ugh, how frustrating, because then I can't put it behind my ear without it bulging out. Anyways, it's on a farm, a beautiful farm, in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, ideally by the water. I'd love to have a boat and water. So like by a lake would be great. And I'd love to have kids, and I'd love to be able to, at least for the first 5 years of my kids' lives, be with them at home and be able to give them my values and teach them life skills that I believe are important and pertinent. And I believe that they can socialize through groups with their parent instead of it being without their parent and surrounded by other kids who you don't necessarily know their backstory, where they come from. You don't really know the educator, and often they are guided by rules made by the system. Anyways, those are my values. I'd love to have my kids at home, and if I could, after that, I would homeschool them or send them to a school, a private school, like a Montessori school. That's what my life would look like on that aspect. Oh, and because I live on a farm, obviously, I would have, and I'm getting so frustrated. Okay, we're just gonna leave it alone for now, and I'll go back to it later if I have to, because I just feel, anyways. So because, of course, I live on a farm, we would have farm animals. The most important one to me, a cow. I want a cow, I want a Highland cow, I want a milk cow, I don't care, I want a cow. I want a cow, I just want a cow. I love cows. Anyways, I'm gonna take you with me. Let's go do my makeup. So I want a cow, I want chickens, I want a goat, I want duckies, and I want a little pond. It just, all of it feels so right, you know? That's just like what my life looks like. Oh no, you'll, with the fan, let's not do that. So that's how I'm picturing my dream life, like so calm and peaceful. That's it. Like working for myself, being able to be present for my kids, for my wife, showing up in if you tell me tomorrow morning I'm waking up on a farm. I'm waking up on a farm and I gotta take care of it. Okay, bitch. Hand me the gloves. So that's what my dream life looked like. And then I started asking myself, okay, well, how can I build this life? Because clearly and evidently, one income source is not enough to be able to have my dream life. And I found it so frustrating because I went to see a therapist, and my therapist kept telling me that it's great to have dreams, but you have to be realistic. And the concept of being realistic just fucks with my brain chemistry, because how can something feel so aligned for me and I can do something about it and yet it's not realistic? Answer me that one. I don't know. So I decided to stop going to that therapist and just kind of fuck around and see what finds out. Like, no, fuck around and find out. See what happens. Anything along those lines is basically what I told myself. And that's why I'm here now. Because I think that anything is possible if you put your mind to it, and neuroscience confirms it. So that's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here to prove. And that is what I'm here to help you do. So if you liked anything that I've had to say, or you enjoy my content, or if you want more information on my offers, I would invite you to go visit my website. There's a link in my bio. And we could either, explore together through the sessions, or you guys can join my community, which is launching May 1st, and you'll get first access to, how can I explain this? Articles, resources, blog posts, anything helpful to help you build multiple income streams. And so if you guys enjoyed this video, even if it's my brain vomit, please like, share, subscribe for more content like this, and drop a comment
telling me what your dream life looks like.
Kisses.